What's up, everybody? We're back again with a super interesting video today. We have RFK Jr. on a big podcast called the Glenn Beck Podcast, and this segment that he talks about is about firearms, okay? And it should be unbelievable, guys. I really like RFK Jr. He's backed by a bunch of cool people, obviously related to one of the best presidents of all time, if not the best president of all time, John F. Kennedy. And also Jesse Ventura, one of my favorite, political speakers, is also backing him. So very, very interesting, guys. I love this. Talking about firearms, because people accuse RFK of trying to curtail firearm production, but I heard a segment of this already on Instagram, but I want to react to it because it's absolutely amazing, guys. I love it. Be cool to see RFK Jr. or someone like that kind of win that's a bit more skeptical about different things. I love to see that. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Let me know your thoughts on this one. And let's go, guys. I've never heard of Glenn Beck, but it seems like he has a pretty significant podcast, 1.2 million views. So yeah, it's an hour and 20 minutes long podcast, so go check it out. But let's go.
Second Amendment, where do you stand on this?
I'm not taking anybody's guns. So there was a time in my life, my father was killed by a gun, my uncle was killed by a gun. Yep. I know other people whose lives have been, I saw what it did to my family.
Mm-hmm. So also, guys, it's not just that. It wasn't just a firearm. It was also, let's say, 3-letter agencies, in the U.S. Maybe, speculatively, right? I'm not 100% sure on that, but people have, said that online as well. A lot of high-ranking people. This is official mainstream news, so, not, conspiratorial whatsoever.
I've seen what it does to other people, but I also understand, I've spent years of my life in rural areas in this country, and I lived for 2 years in Alabama. I've lived in South Dakota. I grew up in Virginia. And I know that there's a gun culture in this country that sees that, that is an existential right for them. And that,
do you see it as a right? I mean, it is a right. It's in our bill.
I believe in the Constitution, okay. and it's part of the Second Amendment. So, yeah. I think that we need to work with each other to understand why we're having the gun violence in this country that no other.
And this is very specific, guys. No other place has that kind of gun violence. Why do they have that gun violence, guys? He gets into it. This is very good, guys.
To understand why we're having the gun violence in this country that no other country has.
So do you believe, I think these are kind of separate. I mean, the law-abiding gun owner, they're not the ones, going out and shooting usually.
Yeah, handkerchief is correct, guys. Handkerchief here on his neck, he's correct. The law-abiding people shouldn't be curtailed because of what the bad people are doing. Actually, it should be the other way around,
It's the ones who aren't either taking care of them correctly in their home, or it's, criminal activity. But the idea of a gun, the drone.
So yeah, he's correct, guys. Like the good people should not be curtailed because of the bad people. It's always how it is.
That we need to work with each other to understand why we're having the gun violence in this country that no other country has.
Yeah,
so do you believe, I think these are kind of separate. I mean, the law-abiding gun owner, they're not the ones, going out and shooting usually. It's the ones who aren't either taking care of them correctly in their home, or it's, criminal activity.
Yeah.
But the idea of a gun is not to hunt; it is to protect against an out-of-control government.
Yeah, against a tyrannical government. We all know this, okay?
So, I think something happened because, when I was a kid, we had gun clubs in our schools, and people would bring their 22s to school, and they'd leave them in the car. They bring them in, and nobody was shooting at people, and something happened. Yep. There's never been a time in human history where individuals with guns were walking into crowds of strangers, crowds of children, and starting to butcher them. That's never happened.
No.
Suddenly that started happening around Columbine, and The question is why it's happening. Why is it happening in this country? And, Switzerland has a comparable level of gun on ownership.
Correct.
Everybody's required to have a gun in their house.
Yeah, Switzerland, obviously, they're really, protective about their country. Everybody has, like, an AR-15. Everybody has guns in Switzerland. But they have, like, 0 gun murders. It's super low, all right? Whereas the U.S. has tons, right? And he gets into it, guys, and he talks about Ssri'S, and I 100% agree with him. This is the most important thing, guys. These drugs wig you out, so you're not comfortable to be doing anything, guys, with these drugs. It causes suicidal, homicidal tendencies. It's crazy.
And the last mass shooting they had in Switzerland was 21 years ago. The last mass shooting.
Culture is sick.
We have mass shootings every 21 hours. So the question is, why is that happening? And, I think that we need, NIH is, under its own rules, is not allowed to look for the answer to that question. There's a lot of things NIH won't do. NIH won't look for the cause of the autism epidemic. They won't look for the cause of peanut allergies. They won't look at any of these things because they're frightened that there's a big shot, a big food processor, big ag, big pharma that is going to be angry at them with the answer. So they simply won't do it. And one of the things they have not looked at, they have a rule. Since 1997, they have not been able to look at the cause of gun violence. When Columbine happened, 5 of the victims of the families sued, I think, Prozac. And, there are Ssri'S. I've talked about this. I'm not saying this is the answer. Saying it's something that we should look at, that Ssri'S have black box labels and benzos that say known to cause suicidal and homicidal behavior.
Right.
It says that.
Right.
Okay. And we're the only country that has this level. 120 million, 240 million doses a year of these.
Correct.
It's crazy. The highest dosed country as well. Like, we have these now in Ireland. They're like ubiquitous. It says something like 30% of people are on them in Ireland, or just in Europe in general. It's like 10%, 5% of those people maybe need that medication, but it's so overprescribed, because now I've never taken it, but I'm sure some people it helps them. But I guarantee, instead of taking medication, being addicted to antidepressants, why don't you talk about your issues, exercise, do these hard things, guys. It's out of control, man. I'm afraid that someone's going to stab me in the head for no reason, guys, because people are just psychos, man, because they take these pills and then it numbs you. It makes you numb so you don't know what you're doing in life. It's absolutely insane, bro. They should be banned completely, bro. Like, unless you're super, super flipping hysterical or something. You know what I mean? It's just psycho, crazy, crazy stuff.
And all of a sudden, and after Columbine, that's when it started happening. Yep. So I'm not saying there's other things that could be, too.
Yes. I understand.
It could be video games. It could be social media. There's a lot.
It could be a lot of factors.
There's a lot of factors, but
Correct.
We should know what it is, because one thing we do know, it has nothing to do with the number of guns. Because there hasn't been any legislation out there that has diminished or increased
Correct.
the number of guns during that period. It's been roughly constant.
Yeah, there's still the same amount of guns in America, right? There's still loads of guns. It's just that there hasn't been any increase in guns. So what is it, guys? It's something else. It's they're giving people these drugs, and then they're just turning people psychos. They're making people into psychos, guys.
Oh, if you have a scientific mind, which I do, I'm looking for the variables that change during that period.
Right.
Facts.
And that's what the CDC ought to be doing. And now, because I'm having this conversation with you, I'm going to get ridiculed. I'm going to, that Kennedy said that Ssri'S are calling it, which I've never said.
Well, I'll say it. I absolutely do think that, guys. I 100,000% said. What else would it be? It's 100% that these drugs cause people to go insane and lose their flipping mind. What else would it be, guys? There's nothing been since recent history that level of flipping crazy. You feel your emotions, yeah, you feel bad for a few months, a few years. I'm sure some people need to take them. Don't take them, guys, if you don't really have to. I'll just say that much, man. It's insane, bro. Especially if you want to use a firearm. Like, what the hell? Like, just craziness, guys. Absolutely psycho. And then what they do is, I'm going to let you guys into some game. They kind of make it, and they camouflage it as, a sort of a thing that if you talk against it, they ridicule you and they blackball you. They say you're a bad person for making fun of mental health. That's not what you're doing, buddy. You're just saying that it's not used to help mental health. I'll tell you how to solve mental health. Not flipping take drugs, guys. It's absolutely insane.
No, it is. It's reasonable to put that on the table.
Makes sense to everybody in the world, which is, let's figure out why that's happening, and not, you know, and then deal with it. And let's make sure we know what the culprit is.
I love that. I absolutely love that, guy. So yeah, unbelievable. So I think that's pretty much all of it. And, you know, they need to find out a reason for this, because it's probably one of the worst things about the U.S. You know what I mean? When you go to the U.S., guys, I love the U.S. and stuff, but when you go there, you feel like you're just going to get shot. It's just unbelievable. You know what I mean? You really feel that kind of tension and that craziness, because, not because people have loads of guns. Guns are fine, but it's what people are going to do with them. You know what I mean? So super crazy. Let me know your thoughts. Absolutely just against those pills and stuff like that. I heard about this stuff 20 years ago when I was a kid, and now I'm seeing the effects of it. Insane, guys. I love you all. Stay free, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.